I pledge to stay drug-free.
I plan to stay drug-free.
I pledge to stay drug-free.
I pledge to be drug-free.
I pledge to stay drug-free.
Good afternoon and welcome to Expose Under the Sun, brought to you by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm Sharon Dumas and I'm your host today. I am so excited about my guest today. It's been a while since she's been on the show, probably a couple of years, but she has written so many books until it's just so unbelievable. I'm still trying to write one. She's written 17. So my guest today is Miss Patrice Lee. Hey Patrice, how are you?
Good afternoon, Sharon. How are you today?
I am doing just fine. I'm honored to have you back on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here today.
Yes, so I said 17 books. Tell us how you got started in being an author. What inspired you?
You know, actually, I never ever thought I'd be an author, and I never planned to be one. It was not a goal or desire of mine, but it happened as a result of some circumstances in my life. And as I came through those circumstances, or as I was coming through the circumstances, the books began to come forth. But those books didn't begin to come forth until I actually sat up one day on the side of my bed on a Saturday. I can even tell you what day it was, several years ago, and I began to forgive people for all the things that they had done intentionally and things that they had done to me in a negative way. And as I began to forgive and name every person one by one, I guess there was a healing that began to take place on the inside. And I had had a wonderful week because I took a day off and I went to see Zig Ziglar and quite a few other speakers on the Get Motivated seminars program. And from that Wednesday till Saturday, there was something inside of me, in my spirit, that just was bubbling over, and it came to a peak on that Saturday, and I forgave people for 3 hours. I just named people casually sitting there, just as if I was supposed to do it on that day. And at the end of that 3-hour period, I began to write. It was all poetry, and I could not stop writing for 30 days.
Wow.
And of that 30 days, I believe, and there was another period 3 months later where I wrote for 21 days, I believe 4 books came out of that. But I only published one, and that book was called Positive Change. It's all about attitude. I kept believing that things were going to change. And even though they didn't at that period, in that period, the books continued to come forth.
So are you saying that for writing 30 days?
Yeah, I wrote day and night, literally. I slept a little bit, but day and night, these poems, these thoughts kept coming to me, and they were so beautiful. I thought they were so beautiful. I knew I had to write them down because I couldn't remember it all, and it just didn't stop for 30 days.
So after forgiving people, it was like you were pouring your heart out into your books. Is that correct?
Not really pouring my heart out. I would say that I wrote on whatever came, and so 1/3 of that book is on forgiveness. I talk about forgiveness, but it's all in poetry and how important it is to forgive and forgiving. And I even did a survey of 350 people. And in that survey, I asked just 2 questions. The one question was, is it easier for you to forgive anyone for anything, or is it easier for you to ask for forgiveness? And people were stumped, and they answered. It took some people a while to think about it, but for those who wanted to help me with the survey, they answered the question. And it was amazing. It's easier for some people to forgive. It's very difficult for them to ask for forgiveness. Isn't that something?
It is. And I would have to answer the same. So it really is. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people out there who are like myself, in between writing those books.
Yes.
And just to hear you say that after forgiving,
Yes.
you were able to put pen to paper. I think
Absolutely.
that because I'm writing about my life. And
Yes.
so that would probably help me as well.
Yes. In fact, if you don't even really have to think about it, but when you begin to think about some of those people who have done some devastating or mean-spirited things to you, whether you ever see them again or not, if you just openly say, Lord, I forgive this person. Oh, help me forgive that one. That one's a little difficult. And I had some of those. And even though some of the people were already dead, even in my family, I still needed to forgive. And he helped me forgive. And in case you don't remember, you can also ask God this. You can say, Lord, I need you to, if there's anybody else I need to forgive, will you just put it to my remembrance and let me know who else I need to forgive? And do you know he'll let you run into those people, or he'll let you see them at a distance somewhere at a jazz festival or wherever you are, and you're like, oh, do I need to forgive them too, Lord? And he'll help you.
Okay.
He really will.
All right. I said
So-
that you wrote 17 books. Actually, how many books have you written?
It's somewhere between 15 and 20, and I have lost count because, well, this one, don't be a victim. Be bully free. This one just came in the mail, and I just opened it today. And I love that little book because, well, I love that little guy because you can see I keep using him over and over on various books. He's on
Right.
my Be Bully Me No More book. He's on my Bully Me Oh No for teens, and here he is again. So it's kind of like a little series. That little guy, if you look at him, does he kind of remind you of my brother? Sharon and I, our connection is my brother. That was our first connection. I never met her until, 10 years ago, about 9 years ago. But
Yeah.
my brother's been dead now for 10 years. But Sharon and I connected because I remembered her name, Sharon. And I said, are you the lady that used to be in my brother's class? You're the one that called our house one time. And that's how we really began to
Middle
connect.
school now. You know how many years ago that was?
Middle school, yes,
Middle
yes, yes.
school. The interesting thing is that your first books, or some of your first books,
Yes.
are about bullying.
Yes.
So do you believe that adults can be bullied? And how do you think it affects them? Because I know your books are Christian-based. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, they're
And
Christ
they're,
books.
and then also they're in Spanish as well.
Some are in Spanish.
Some are in
yes.
Spanish. So tell us a little bit about, because bullying is so big. As a matter of fact, in my personal opinion, I think that our president is a bully in so
Okay.
many ways. And so what can we do to help him as well, to maybe give him some advice about not being such a bully?
Bullying really is a problem, and it's not, as Sharon is expressing, it's not just among children, and teenagers, and youth. It actually is in the workplace, which is where I received most of my bullying. For over 20 years, I was bullied in the workplace, and it was kind of like persecution, harassment, but today we would just call it bullying, and it was nonstop. And you wonder, what is it in a person to make them never want to leave you alone or always look for things to do to you? But, and then at some point you say, is this really happening or is this my imagination? But it really does happen. In fact, employers are losing billions of dollars on employees who can't produce because their minds are so caught up in what's going on happening to them. And then there are so many employers that have high absenteeism because of the bullying that goes on. So yes, it's a problem. What can we do about it? One, with our children and our youth, because so many of them are taking their lives, we need, as parents, we need to talk about it. We need to talk to our children and our teens every single day and ask them, how was your day? What's going on with you today? How was school? What happened in school? Whatever you can do to open up communication, need to do it. And that communication, two-way communication, is the beginning of that dialogue that you need to have every day with your child so that you can find out what's going on. And then when your child tells you that they've been bullied and they explain to you what's going on, you need to be at the school or wherever it is occurring and get right on it because they need your support. So those are some of the things we can do. Talk and then follow up right away, and always let your child know that you are on their side. You're part of their team, their support system, and that you are going to make sure that we get to the bottom of whatever it is.
That is so important because
Absolutely.
now I spoke at a conference, a mental health conference in Atlanta.
Yes.
And I learned from the behavioral health director
Yes.
from Washington, D.C., that the number one age for bullying is now under 10 years old.
Oh, yes.
And I know I see it a lot on Facebook as well.
Yes.
And people think what's on Facebook is not always real, but if you just read the headlines, those are headlines of different papers.
Yes.
I mean, for a child that young to commit suicide because of bullying is really.
Oh my goodness. Yes, and it is happening here in Detroit. It's happening all over the United States. In fact, suicide is the second leading cause of death among our children and youth. Between the ages 9 and 24 is what the national statistics give. But I will tell you, I know of 8-year-olds, I know of 7-year-olds that have done this. I've talked with their parents and grandparents, and it's really a serious problem. And of those who are committing suicide, half of all suicides are bully related. Can you imagine, Sharon? 1/2 of all suicides are bully related.
That's amazing.
So it is a statistic that we need to lower because we want to save our babies. We want to save our children. And there are many, many other things that are affecting them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you're an adult, again, I wish there was a way that, we could give our president some suggestions about how he goes about things. Sometimes I'm not even involved and I feel bullied by what he says. So what kind of things can adults who are in that position, on a job, how do they handle it?
I think one, it's very important to document the things that are going on. Make sure you have the dates and the times because you never know where this is going to end up, and it's very important. Even as adults, if you're bullied, talk it out with someone who cares about you and has your best interest at heart. Even as we tell children to talk to the adult in your life that loves you, usually your mom or your dad, or an aunt or an uncle or grandparent, someone that loves you so much, that cares and that cares and has your best interest. The same for an adult. You need to know that there's someone you can talk to. For me, it was someone that I could pray with day or night. I went through so many prayer partners. I mean, they were much older than me, many of them, but we prayed, and the prayers got me through some very tough times.
That is
Very,
great.
very tough times.
That is great.
Yeah.
So I know you have several books on bullying, but you have other books as well. So can you tell us about some of those books?
Absolutely. So many of our books do touch on bullying, but I have one book here called How to Overcome Every Obstacle and Land on Top. This book is my bestseller, at least it was. Little Happy to Be Me here at the front of our table. Little Anya is taking a close second because for our children, Happy to Be Me is probably my bestseller. But for any age, if you're a reader, 3rd grade or above, I have parents buying this book for 7 and 8-year-olds, grandparents, because their children are good readers. But it's just a very easy read. I give you 8 steps to overcome any adversity in life. And I give you examples of people like Helen Keller, Dr. Benjamin E. Mays, Dr. George Washington Carver, Michael Jordan, Bessie Coleman, who have overcome tremendous obstacles in their lives. And we know who they are today because they overcame these obstacles. Now, this book is also in Spanish. And I won't try to read the title to you because I'm not so well versed. But I know that it also sells and does well as well.
Wonderful. Can you give your contact information out?
Absolutely. I am Patrice Lee. My website is www.leap4joy, that's my last name, Lee, L-E-E-P, the number 4, JOY.com. And you can reach me also by email at Patrice, Patrice, capital A, capital L-E-E, at gmail.com. Yeah, so that's my
And
information.
Let me ask you, you have some events that are coming up. What kind of things that you do? And then, a lot of programs are now having people come out to read to their children. Do you do that?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I'm in the schools as much as you want me to be with my books. The children love my books, pre-K through 3. When they see me come through the hallways and they know what I have, or if they happen to see a book in my hand, they always say, "Oh, can I have that book?" Because we try to make our books very attractive. But yes, Classroom Reads, we get such results. Sharon, with the Classroom Reads. We have children, even though we don't ask them to do it, they will come across the classroom and ask another child to forgive them just from us talking about bullying.
Oh,
And they
wow.
want it to end, and they really, in their heart, want to let it go. But recently, and in fact, this weekend, because you're going to be there with me, we have an event coming up, and we're really excited about it. And I'd just like to say, this is the press release for it, the media alert. It's called a Free Health, Wellness, Fitness, Empowerment, and Family Fun Initiative. It will begin this Saturday, and it will be all day from 12 to 4. That's August 24th. And it's the Power Health Tour in partnership with the Ford Resource and Engagement Center at the Hellman Recreation Center. It's given by Arise Detroit, City of Detroit, Power Health, and the Ford Resource and Enrichment Center. Again, that is at the location of the Hellman Center. If you know and are familiar with Fisher Middle School, Fisher Magnet Middle School on the east side, I will give you the address. It's 15491 Madeline, and that's Detroit 48205. We're really looking forward to that. We got a lot of great people that are going to be there. There are many other vendors there. They're going to have a lot of featuring optical information, blood pressure, glucose, dental, chiropractic, cholesterol screenings, and so much more. Even cooking demonstrations. There are going to be a myriad of exhibitors there. Pizza party, giveaway bags for back to school. So it's a true back to school event that we want everyone to come out to. I'll be there. Sharon will be there. We'll be
Yeah.
there with our books and all of that we have to share with you.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
at the Hellman Center. So I'm excited that we're going to be a part of that,
Yes.
the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project. I know, Patrice, you wrote a book about boys.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, it's about the boys. That's the first book here at the front of the table. It's called It's About the Boys, Getting from Boyhood to Manhood. How important it is for our boys to be encouraged to be who they are, which is a boy. That's what God made them, and we want them to love themselves. We want them to love life. We want them to feel comfortable with who they are and be able to express themselves. And so in this book, I'm going to pull it off the stand for a minute. We actually, I'm showing you the back cover because it actually shows the boys in action and the various activities that they like to do. They just have fun. They play outdoors. They play on bikes and with balls, and they love remote cars and all that kind of stuff, and that's what they do. But we have a lot of poetry in there also at the back of the book because we just encourage them through that poetry. So it's a lot.
Then
Good
there was
things.
another book that I really love the cover, and that's Mommy, Are You Listening?
Oh, yes, for mommies. Now, that book, Sharon, is endorsed by Mom Winans, and it really is to encourage mommies to be wonderful mothers, to take time with their children, to spend quality time with their children, to love on their children. And we tell mommies what love is. There are a lot of poems in there as well. There are words of wisdom from 10 wonderful mothers, including yourself, Sharon.
Oh,
Yeah, 10 wonderful mothers. And there's a special chapter for grandmothers who are raising grandbabies. Oh my goodness, that is my favorite chapter because it's very humorous. I'll have to take a read on that again. But the book really does encourage mommies, and I've had people thank me for writing that book.
Great. So would you give your contact information out for us again?
Absolutely. We are www.leapforjoy.com. That's LEEP, the number 4, JOY.com. And you can reach me at patricealee@gmail. And we look forward to you also for coming out to the Hellman Center this weekend, August 24th, on Madeline Street. That's the Fisher, if you don't remember anything else, find the Fisher Magnet Middle School from 12 to 4. Yeah, we're going to be there as
That
well.
should be great. And that's
Yes.
a beautiful center. Ford Motor Company
Oh,
put
yes.
$5 million into that.
It is absolutely
area.
gorgeous. Everything is state of the art, so we're really excited about that. And we really want to encourage children who are going back to school to be start off on a positive note, to have everything they need, and to have good material in their hand as well. We want to prevent bullying. That's why we're here. That's why you're talking to me, Sharon, and why you believe in what I'm doing. We want to stop the bullying. And the way to do it is to talk about it even before school starts and just not to be a bully. We don't want you to be a bully either.
Let me ask you, now that we have computers and readers and all of that, does it make it, is it a challenge to you to sell books where people put them in their hands? It seems like people are going to reading from the internet and things like that. How has that affected your business?
You know, I'm glad you asked me that question, Sharon, because not only does it slow down book sales and books from being checked out of the library, but it also slows down the reading ability and the process that children need, that natural process of holding a book in their hands and getting all they can from in between those pages. It's affecting their reading ability, their comprehension as well, I do believe. So this fall, our children are going to be feeling the effects of it by the end of the school year because of the new law. If you're in third grade and you don't pass that third grade reading test, you're going to be held back. So we definitely want to encourage parents, come out. Buy a book for your child, or two. There's so many to choose from. It's hard to pick just one.
Right.
But we'll work out something special with you if you want to get 3 books. We'll do something nice for you. But we have books for every age. It's not just for the pre-K through third grade. We have the teen book, which the teen book here is Bully Me or No is actually saving lives. Our teen book has actually saved the life of one local teen, and the mom came back to me and reported that to me. And she said, I want you to tell everyone, wherever you go, about my story. And now, the teenagers are also endorsing that book and sharing it with their younger siblings or nephews or cousins and getting results, Sharon.
That is great. So if there's anyone out there that has grant money for the reading programs, first through third grade, Patrice, are you available for that in your book?
Oh, absolutely. If you have grant money, and we had some last year that was available, and some took advantage of that, please don't hesitate to call us. We'll give you the price of our books. We'll deliver them to you. We'll even sign them for you. Get the books. If they're making grant money available, let's not waste that money. Let's not let that money go to waste, because if you don't spend money, sometimes you lose it, and next year you won't have it to spend. So please take advantage of it. It will be a blessing to you, teachers, principals in the classroom. And as a matter of fact, there are 3 high schools that actually used our teen book in their high schools, and they wanted more. But money was a problem. Money was a factor. It doesn't have to be. If you know where the grants are, apply for them. Let's get that and put it to good work. I'll even come. If you get a set of books for your classroom or your classrooms, I'll come to the school and I'll reinforce what it is that you want to get out of that book with your students.
Well, Patrice, I know you've been working really hard just trying to get books in children's hands and making parents and teachers and schools understand how important it really is.
Yes.
So I just want to congratulate you, first of all, to say thank you so much for what you're doing. And the words are so easy to read in your books.
Thank you.
It's such an easy read, so there's really no reason, why people can't really get these books and share them with their children.
Thank you so much, Sharon. It is a lot of work. Sometimes I work from sun up to sundown, and I think I need to stop and eat. But there's so much to do. There's so much to get out to the students. There's so many ways of communicating, and sometimes people are not available, or sometimes they don't get back with you. But I am dedicated to this mission. We want to save lives. We want children to be transformed,
Yes.
like our Bully Me Oh No book is doing. It's transforming teenagers. And so let's live life happy and be bully free with the Leap for Joy book today.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there are people out there watching, because I know it's on the internet.
Yes.
that may want you to come to their area. So can you give your contact information again, and will you travel to go other places around the
Certainly.
country?
Yes. In fact, I was recently at the NAACP convention, and I did a book signing there. And I have 2 out-of-town speaking engagements where they're having me come to speak, be keynote speaker, or be the lead person at their program this fall and next year. So yes, I am available. You can reach me at patricealee@gmail.com, and that's PATRICE, capital A, capital LEE, @gmail.com. Or if you want to reach me through the internet, I am on Facebook as well, so you can message me. It's Leap for Joy Books or Leap Joy.
And since school is about to start, and we need to prepare our young people for bullying. I mean, it happens. A lot of times people can't accept the way another person looks, or, you know, there's just so many reasons. Can you just give 2 tips as we're about to close out for the parents and for the young people as it relates to bullying? Because I really believe that's so important.
Absolutely. Mom or dad or grandmom or granddad, if you have a child that's in the school system, it doesn't matter what school system they're in, bullying is occurring in every school system, whether it's public, private, charter, parochial. Bullying occurs. I need you to know that you need to watch your children. You can notice these 2 symptoms. One, if they have a loss of appetite, or their appetite has changed, and suddenly they don't eat anymore, or they're eating obsessively. They could be excessively. They may be bullied. They may be being bullied. If your child has a change in sleeping habits, maybe they're not sleeping at all anymore, or it's really hard for them to go to sleep every night, they could be affected by a bully or having seen it in operation. So those are just 2 things. But we do have a book called Tips and Tools for a Safe and Healthy School Year. It's also on Amazon.com. If you go there, you can see there are at least 10 symptoms that I give in that book
Oh, okay.
as well.
And then for the children that may be watching,
To the
make sure-
children. Children, bullying is not acceptable. It hurts people. It hurts their feelings. It hurts them. It can affect them
Okay.
for the rest of their lives. And if you are a child who is being bullied, please speak up. Please talk to your mom or dad or your parent, grandparent. Speak up today. Let
Thank-
them know what's going on.
Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on and all
Thank
that you
you.
do. You have been watching Expose Under the Sun. I'm Sharon Dumas, and we'll see you next week.